On September 22, 2007, Brian Chesky received an email from his roommate titled a subletter. At the time, it seemed like nothing special, just another email in his inbox. But that one email set off a chain of events that led him and his roommate Joe Gebbia to co-found Airbnb, a company that's now worth over $95 billion. And that's just one example. Every single day, over 350 billion emails are sent. Despite the rise of instant messaging and AI-powered communication, email still delivers the highest ROI of any communication channel, generating $38 for every $1 spent. Still think that emails can't change your life? Mark Cuban invested $500,000 in a startup after reading just one cold email, and student landed a job at Google through a single cold email. So now, what if I told you that you could use email to open life-changing opportunities? In this video, I will share 5 powerful email strategies that will help you stand out in anybody's inbox, whether you are networking, pitching, or simply trying to get a response. And make sure you watch till the end, because each strategy builds on the last, and the final one will completely change how you approach emails forever. The biggest mistake most people make in emails is trying too hard to sound professional. They start with something generic like, I hope this email finds you well, or I wanted to reach out to you because, like that, they lose their reader's attention. Your email is competing with hundreds of others, and if it sounds just like the rest, then it's getting ignored. Nobody wants to read another forgettable email. This is exactly why even AI tools like ChatGPT often fails at writing emails. They generate messages based on what's already out there, which means that everyone's emails start looking the same. When MailChimp analyzed billions of emails, they found that breaking away from those standard patterns can double response rates. Take Morning Brew, for example. They built a newsletter with over 4 million subscribers by using subject lines like the Amazon trick you're not supposed to know, or why Pixar's latest move shocked Disney. These worked because they created a curiosity gap, making people feel like they are missing out on something important. But getting attention is just the first step. If you want someone to actually read and respond, you need to establish authority immediately. Instead of saying, I'm an expert in digital marketing, you could try and say that after helping 3 e-commerce brands triple their conversion rates last month, you should see the difference. The second one is not just introducing who you are, it's proving your expertise with real results. Here's a simple way to make your emails stand out. Do your research. Before reaching out, find one specific detail about the recipient. Maybe they just launched a new product or published an article. Make your opening personal and relevant. Instead of, I wanted to reach out because, say something like, your thoughts on X topic reminded me of how we solved a similar challenge at my company. Test your subject line. Before sending your email, run it through subjectline.com, a free tool that analyzes subject lines based on millions of emails and predicts if it's effective. The goal is not to write a long, complicated email. It's to capture attention instantly, establish credibility, and make the recipient want to keep reading. If you can master this, you will already be ahead of 90% of emails in their inbox. And now that you crafted an email that gets opened, let's move on to how to get a response. Getting someone to open your email is just one thing, but getting a response is where most people fail. Most people believe that crafting the perfect pitch or making an irresistible offer is the key to getting replies. However, research suggests that a simple psychological trick works far better. In 1966, Stanford researchers discovered something called the foot in the door technique. They found that if people said yes to a small request, then they were 3 times more likely to agree to a bigger one later. This is exactly why companies like Spotify and Dropbox offer free trials. Once people engage with the product in a small way, they're far more likely to commit later. You can use the same concept in your emails. Instead of immediately asking for a meeting or trying to sell something, you start with a small question that's easy to reply to. For example, instead of saying, let me know if you'll be interested in a call, try something like, I noticed that you're expanding your team. How has the experience been so far? It's simple, non-threatening, and easy to reply to. The moment they engage, they're already invested in the conversation. Once you hook them in, the next step is to keep them engaged. One of the most effective ways to do this is the problem, agitate, solve PAS framework, and here's how it works. Identify a challenge that they are facing, explain why this problem is hurting them, and present your solution in this order. So instead of saying that we help companies grow their marketing reach, you can use the PAS to create a stronger emotional impact. Most businesses lose 30% of potential revenue because their marketing doesn't reach the right audience. The worst part is that they don't even realize it's happening. Last quarter, we helped X company fix this and their customer engagement increased by 50%. Here's how we've done it. This structure works because it makes the reader feel the pain of the problem before you introduce the solution. But even with a well-crafted email, timing plays a crucial role in getting a response. People check emails at different times, but data shows that the best engagement happens in two key windows. In the morning between 9 and 11 a.m. after clearing urgent tasks but before meetings pile up, and in the afternoon between 1 and 3 p.m. post-lunch when decision fatigue hasn't kicked in yet. If you follow up within these windows, your chances of getting a response can increase significantly. If your recipient reads but doesn't reply, tracking tools like Streak can help you time your follow-up properly instead of guessing. By using the small initial ask, structuring your message in a way that naturally creates urgency, and following up at the right moment, you drastically improve your chances of getting a response. And now that you've opened the conversation, the next step is making sure that it leads to real opportunities instead of dead ends. Getting a reply is just the start. If you don't know how to build genuine connections afterward, even the best cold email will lead nowhere. Communication mirroring, a technique that top professionals use to connect more effectively. And the idea is simple. People prefer talking to others who communicate like them. Some are analytical thinkers who break things into clear points. Others are narrative thinkers who prefer storytelling. And then there are data-driven thinkers who respond best to facts and figures. If someone writes to you with bullet points and precise details, mirroring that structure in your responses makes the conversation feel more effortless for them. If they use a more casual conversational style, a formal response could feel off-putting. But before sending a follow-up, context is key. Instead of blindly replying, take a moment to check their latest LinkedIn post, company website, or recent news about their industry. Here's how to apply this. Imagine that you're following up with someone who recently scaled their sales team. Instead of sending a generic just checking in email, you could write something like, I saw that your company's expansion has been announced, congratulations. It reminded me of how a similar company handled rapid team growth last year. Their head of sales shared some insights that might be useful for you. Happy to share them if you're interested. This approach follows the PVR framework, one of the simplest yet most effective ways to structure your follow-ups. Personal. Reference something specific about them, their company, their industry, or recent update. Value. Offer a useful insight, case study, or relevant information and request. Instead of a generic ask, provide a low-effort next step like a short discussion, a resource, or even an introduction. Another way to strengthen relationships is by using tools like Clearbit's email extension. This lets you quickly gather relevant background information so your follow-up feels tailored rather than generic. But the key to all of this is consistency. The best relationships are not built in one email. They are developed over time through valuable, meaningful interactions. So once you build trust, the next step is getting them to take action, which we'll cover next. Now that you've built strong relationships, the next step is understanding what actually makes people take action. Because getting a response is one thing, but turning that response into a real opportunity requires a different strategy. According to Robert Cialdini's research on influence, people are far more likely to say yes when they feel that they've already received value from you. This is called reciprocity, the psychological principle that makes people feel obligated to return a favor. longer. The best companies already use this. Think about how Dropbox gives you free storage, or Notion offers free templates, and Figma lets you use their core features before asking you to pay. They solve a problem first, making it natural for you to say yes later. Here's how you can apply this to your emails. Give before you ask. Instead of immediately pitching, offer something useful first. If they are entering a new market, share some competitor insights, or if they are scaling a team, then send them some hiring strategies that work for similar companies. Make the next step easy. Never write, "Let me know when we'd like to chat." That forces them to think. Instead, offer a clear, simple option like, "Would Tuesday at 2 p.m. work for a quick 15-minute chat?" Use loss aversion to drive urgency. Studies show that people fear missing out on potential gains more than they enjoy making gains. So instead of saying that our tool increases growth by 60%, reframe it as, "Your competitors are seeing a 60% boost. Don't miss out." The goal is not to pressure them, it's to frame your offer in a way that makes saying yes the natural choice. By focusing on giving value first, removing friction, and using decision psychology, you make your emails impossible to ignore. By now, you've learned how to grab attention, get responses, build relationships, and make people want to say yes. But if you want to take your emails to the next level and turn them into a consistent source of opportunity, you need to focus on optimization and strategy, the same way how top email marketers do it. Let's start with A/B testing, but not the basic kind where you only tweak the subject lines. The best email professionals test 3 critical elements that directly impact response rates. Message sequencing, the order in which you present informations. Emails that gradually build context before making a request tend to perform better. Information hierarchy, where you place key details in the email. For example, do you mention the offer in the first sentence or after setting up the problem? Call to action positioning, when and how do you ask the recipient to take action? Should the CTA be in the middle or at the end of the email? Every audience responds differently, which is why constant testing is key. Small adjustments in these areas can lead to big improvements in your response rates. Another powerful tactic is timing your emails based on peak cognitive hours. Studies show that professionals are most likely to engage with emails between 10 a.m. and noon, after they've cleared their morning backlog, but before they hit decision fatigue. Sending emails during these peak hours can increase open and response rates significantly. And finally, let's talk about the commitment cascade, one of the smartest ways to increase conversions. Instead of immediately asking for a big commitment like a 30-minute meeting, start small. For example, instead of asking for a call, first ask for their thoughts on an industry trend. Instead of pitching your service immediately, share a relevant case study and ask if they faced a similar challenge. This method works because of implementation intention, a psychological effect where people start imagining themselves using your solution before you even ask them to commit. Now, to optimize all of these techniques, you can use tools like Lavender, which analyzes your emails and provides real-time feedback on structure, tone, and engagement levels. But remember, tools should only support your strategy and not replace it. So there you have it, 5 proven strategies to make your emails stand out, get responses, and turn conversations into real opportunities. Here's a quick recap. Break standard email patterns to grab attention. Use psychological triggers like the foot in the door technique to get replies. Communication styles to build stronger relationships. Leverage psychological principles like reciprocity and loss aversion to increase conversions, and optimize timing, sequencing, and call to actions for better response rate. But remember one thing, the more emails you send, the better you get. It's not about finding the perfect email, it's about testing, refining, and improving over time. If you found this video valuable, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content like this. And let me know in the comments which of these strategies are you going to try first. I would love to hear how it works for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.